What up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today's topic is that no matter what you do or how well you do it, someone's gonna have an opinion about you. It's either good or bad. It's good or bad, and yeah, that's out of your control, right? That's out of your control, and that's okay, because oftentimes people's opinions reflect themselves more than you as a person. And so today I was actually buying groceries at an Asian market in like the Asian areas where I like to go to an Asian market to buy my dark 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 green leafy vegetables, because there are a lot better micronutrients in it, and I think just going to Asian markets is a lot more variety compared to like Western markets like Rouse, where I usually just pick up like Brussels sprouts, like spinach, and asparagus. But typically I just prefer going to um, Asian restaurants, Asian markets, just because I get to see some faces, see some familiar faces, and I also get to practice my home language, which I don't typically do that a lot, just because I just don't. My parents and we don't really talk. But enough of that. I typically like to bring my own shopping bag, just because I don't want to spend money buying grocery bags. I know like a lot of people at Ralph's, right? They will not pay for the plastic reusable bags, but they will take them. And I don't know. I know it's cheap. I know it's something that like people do, but I don't want to do it, right? For whatever reason, I just felt like stealing. I hate to say it, but stealing, however big, however small it is, it just don't sit well with me. I know that maybe it's one of those things that people normalize when they're shopping at a grocery store, that they just take bags that they don't pay. But like I said, it doesn't sit well with me. And so I picked up my yo choy, and I picked up my, what did I pick up? I don't remember how they I don't know how to pronounce it in English, but I picked up 2 types of vegetables. So, and I go to the cashier. I'm in line, and there was this lady with her husband, that was directly behind me, and that lady was, this older woman was trying to like start a conversation with me, making a little small talk about like, oh, like, it's nice that, like, she made a comment like something like, oh, it's nice that you're carrying your own bag. And I was like, yeah, I just do that all the time. We're having this in Chinese, and my Chinese isn't very fluent, but and at the same time, when I was closer to cashier, the cashier was also pointing out the fact that I have my own bag, and we're kind of all having this conversation about how I carry my own bag, which is cool. And the lady behind me was like, saying, oh, it's nice that you have your own bag, but some people or some market or some cashier will be like, will have an opinion about like, oh, you shouldn't do that, or sanitary reasons, or whatever reason, right? And I was like, I said, like, I try to say this in Chinese. And I said, I said, no matter what you do, someone's gonna have an opinion about it, right? So it's like, I don't really care if someone's got something against me bringing my own like grocery bag. I like to do it because it's obviously for my convenience, and I'm not gonna let some random say something about me and get in my head about it, And I used to be like one of those people, right? Things people say easily get in my head, but this is something you get better as you get older. That what people say about you really don't matter, good or bad. Um, Even if it's like good, I try not to let it get to my head, because when you let it get to your head, right, it becomes this like thing that you're subconsciously conditioned to do more and more, to to farm or fish for compliments. And too much of that type of thinking kind of like warps the way I start behaving, right? And same thing with like, obviously bad opinions, right? So I try not to let good or bad opinions get to my head, just because I think being detached and disassociating is one of those skills that you need to learn, right? Especially if you're gonna be doing something that's unconventional, right? Whether that's work or whatever, right? In general, especially when you're working with people, you gotta disassociate, right? And learn and really be conscious that what other people say don't really represent you. And yeah, so that's what kind of got me thinking about like this video topic, because of what happened at the grocery store. And even the cashier chimed in, basically kind of agreeing with what I said, or rehashing what I said, that it really doesn't matter as long as you are living integrally. Is that a word? Oh, God, English is so bad. Or anyways, I just let out like an inner monologue moment right now. And so growing up, especially in my 20s, right, I've been pretty self-conscious about myself and opinions. And I'm sure those of you guys who are younger watching this probably can resonate. I feel like when you're younger, you want to fit in, you want to be liked, but at the cost that sometimes, at the cost of being liked, you kind of become this cookie cutter version of everybody else. And I remember how that was like for me. Is that I would make myself small, make myself reshape myself around everybody, just so that I can fit in the culture, fit in the to be liked. And I realized that like that's not how it should work, right? You gotta be your own shape, you gotta be your own Tetris block. And just let other people find comfort around you. And it's completely okay if some people don't find comfort in you being who you are, because that's life. Not everyone is gonna appreciate you, right? And it's kind of like another analogy I have is like, I think my cooking is pretty damn good. I put in a lot of work into it. I love cooking. But if someone doesn't like my cooking, and I'm sure I've talked about this with my mom before, but if someone doesn't like my cooking, I'm not gonna try to like convince them that my cooking is bad. My cooking is good. If they don't like it, they don't like it, right? For whatever personal reasons, they might not like my cooking, right? And maybe it's too spicy for them, maybe it's too seasoned for them, maybe it's too under seasoned. Whatever the reason is, right? It doesn't mean anything, because most people's opinion are a projection of themselves based on their own worldview. And vice versa, we have our own worldview of what those things are. And and you got to be conscious of that, because otherwise you're just slummed in this like fit in, and like this fit in culture. And I don't know, I think I'm tired of being that, to maintain a certain image, to maintain a certain idea of how people look at me. And it's like, that's so tiring. I feel like it's way easier being unapologetically yourself, and just let go of people who who doesn't want to be around you, who doesn't like you. And it's much easier living that way, because when you're authentic, you're drawing in people that likes those part of you, and You know, if other people don't get you, then that's completely okay. I remember in like the very beginning of like my YouTube, especially when I only had a couple videos out, you know, my cousin and I would always talk, and whenever I call him, he would tell me like, you know, he watched my video, which I really appreciate, and like, if you were around early enough, I made a video called Common Sense Isn't Really Common. It's a video where I like filmed it as cinematically as I knew how, which was like with B-rolls, with different segments, with different camera angles, making this little like skit play. And I'll be honest, I looked at that video and I was like, I felt like it was really rehearsed, and that you know, I obviously got to cover the points of that video, right? But at the same time, I felt like I wasn't really myself. So subsequently, after that video, I just started making videos like this where I just talk in the car and I talk to you guys like face to face, like raw, just like this. And sometimes I don't even edit out the bad part or the time filler part. I just let it run, just because I feel like that's the type of content I want to run. You know, it's a conversation. It's a solo podcast. You know, it really depends how you see it. But I genuinely like these type of video. But my cousin would tell me that he would prefer that I rehearse my speech or what I say, and you know, in the beginning I was like, maybe I should rehearse. But then I realized that that's not what my content is. You know, it's my content at this point, at least right now, it's not going to be rehearsed content, right? Not contents that I'm going to practice reading off of a PowerPoint or anything. It's just anything goes, whatever comes to my head, I'm just going to talk about. And I prefer content this way. It's a little more realistic. It's less performance, right? Less performative, and I prefer that. And at the same time, like I said, once I realized that, and I also what his opinion is about my video, which I didn't take anything offended, right? He said that that's what he preferred. Like I said, it made me realize that like not all of my content is gonna be for everybody, and that's okay, right? At the end of the day, right? Those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. And I think that's the quote that I first heard from this YouTube channel called Simple Pickup. But it's a quote said by Ralph Emerson something. It's a very famous quote, basically telling you that like what people say don't matter. And even those who matter, they don't mind it. So it's kind of a way for you to just go out into the world and just be unapologetic, and just be you. And I know that like it's easier said than done, right? Being you, because I think it's because it's hard to be completely yourself, because we're constantly living in a world where we're seeing other people trying to fit in, right? There's models everywhere of people trying to fit in, trying to be liked. And like I said, trying to being yourself is a lot harder to do, and it's a choice. It's a choice that you have to constantly make as you go out with people, you hang out with people, you hang out with groups. It's a constant reminder. It's a very conscious thing, I think, in the beginning, until you really are a master, are used to just being yourself 100% of the time. And that's something that I'm still working on, just being who I am in every situation, every group, every different setting that I go. You know, I'm making the choice to be myself. You know, if and sometimes that looks like saying a joke that I think it's funny, but it may not obviously hit a home run with some other people, you know, with people at church, people at the gym, people at the pool, swimming pool, people at restaurants, you know, old friends, whatever, right? And that's okay. The point is that I'm challenging myself to move to that, right? To challenge myself to get outside of my comfort zone, to being a little bit more authentic every single day, and small progresses matter, right? A lot of the big things in life is just, you know, doing micro movements every day, right? Like doing small things that builds momentum over time, and like being yourself, right? It takes time to change. It takes time to get comfortable, and you just got to be patient with it and keep going. All right guys, if this video offered you value and you want to see more content just like this, feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and you know, share something interesting, share something random that you thought that you learned from this video. You know, organic engagements only, guys. But as always, guys, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next video, baby. Mwah. Bye.